This film is sponsored by New York Life and its dedicated agents, proud sponsors of NFL Team Highlight Films. New York Life, the company you keep.
Touchdown, Washington Redskins. The Redskins have taken control of another Super Bowl with an explosion.
I guess more or less when you win, you get complacent sometimes. After you win, you know, everybody's after you.
Everybody in the league gunning points.
In the NFL, it's easy to go from being high on the hog to being hog-tied by your opponents. When you're the defending Super Bowl champions, it's tough to get back in the swing of things. You're every opponent's biggest game, the roadblock in their quest to be best. Beginning with the first series of the season, the NFL attacked the Washington Redskins. The toll of the assault would be devastating.
Come on, Skins, you gotta get it together!
Only 8 players started every game, and it seemed a different lineup took the field each week. The Redskins could have quit many times, but pride proved to be a potent pick-me-up.
We are still the reigning Super Bowl champs. People tend to forget that, though.
The Washington Redskins never forgot.
Want to be winners.
Listen, we're not getting paid to play. We're getting paid to win. Now let's go out and get right after, right on the start here, knock them back out the other end. Let's go, baby, let's go!
They stretched their season to the second round of the playoffs and then fell to the 49ers. But along the way, they confronted and conquered countless obstacles.
Biner's the back. He'll get the call. Here's the counter play. Near side. He's got it easy. Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
All day long! All day long!
They didn't repeat as Super Bowl champions as they had hoped, but they delivered a crisp and clear message to the rest of the league. We're the Washington Redskins. Don't count us out.
Let's go!
Don't ever count us out, baby. Let's go! Don't count us out! We're still in it. Don't count us out!
They got their run sequence, and it looks like Rippon hands it to Biner. Option play. He's got Orr wide open at the 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
Programs right here.
Following a Week 1 loss in Dallas, the Redskins returned to RFK Stadium in search of a winning rhythm.
Motion by Monk over to the far side. Back goes Rippon a pass in the end zone. Look, and he's got Biner. He's got him to the goal line. Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
Mark Rippon threw 2 touchdown passes, and a rookie caught everyone's attention by catching an unusual pass, then turning it into a touchdown.
Take one back, baby. You know what to do. Yeah, baby, let's go, let's go. Let's get fired up.
Here we go. There's the kick.
I'm talking about
It's
on the
short.
return.
It'll be Brian Mitchell near side. He'll grab the ball at the 45. Throws it across to Desmond Howard. He's the far side 50. He scoots to the 40. Uh-oh, watch out to the far side 20, 15, 10. Cuts back. Touchdown, Washington Redskins. Oh, was that fun? The rookie's first touchdown on a 55-yard return.
Great job, baby. Hey, you ran like a big boy. Like you knew what you was doing, boy.
Despite the offensive explosion, it was up to the defense to preserve the win.
9 for the Falcons. They can tie the game in the score. Looks over the middle. Picked off. It's Kurt Cabay in the end zone. That stops the Atlanta drive.
The following week against the Lions, plenty of fancy moves were on display, but to the surprise of many, they weren't Barry Sanders. Number 20 did a lot of running, but mostly east and west, as A.J. Johnson and Bobby Wilson shut down all throughways. Ernest Biner, meanwhile, found no traffic on the road to the end zone.
The snap, hands to Biner over the left side. Got a fleet ahead of him, crosses into the end zone. Oh,
it was a perfectly executed counter tray, a play John Riggins helped make famous. It seemed only fitting a full moon be hovering above when Washington honored one of football's most colorful characters. First, the Redskins gave Riggo his Hall of Fame ring. Then they gave the Broncos a beating. Mark Rippon's touchdown pass and 2 rushing scores highlighted a 34-point output. But the key to this win was a defense that just couldn't wait to get to John Elway and company. The Redskins sacked Denver 5 times and came away with 4 turnovers.
the snap, play action fake, rushed back, tries to throw screen, picked off by Wilbur Marshall. He's gone. It's touchdown, Washington Redskins. The ball batted in the air in a crowd. Wilbur Marshall pulled it out of the air and goes 23 yards for the score.
Wilbur Marshall stole the ball and the show on this night, but he couldn't steal the spotlight. That was reserved exclusively for Art Monk, who entered this game needing 7 catches to surpass Steve Largent as the NFL's all-time reception leader.
Art Monk needs 1. He's stacked out here to the near side, in motion to the far. Rippon is back, looking for Monk on the out pattern. He's got it at the 27, out of bounds at the 23. Art Monk is now number 1, the most prolific pass receiver in the National Football League's history.
After 820 catches, it was time for the NFL's new receiving king to assume his throne and take his royal ride. A teammate once said that Art Monk is quiet about his work, very loud with his results. For 13 years, he's just done his job, and he's done it better than anyone in the history of the game.
Congratulations, Art.
We're there for some bird hunting.
When those birds from up north make their annual migration, the Redskins can't help but get excited.
I wonder who we play today. Eagles, baby. Eagles, baby. Eagles.
Facing Philadelphia seems to bring out the best in the Redskins, who scored on their first possession.
It's first down and 10, first and goal. Rippon rolling to his right, looking, throws it, got to complete.
The early touchdown would be Washington's only, but this still would be a dark day for Philadelphia. The Redskins' defense continued to flex its muscles, and it pulled no punches when it came to stopping Randall Cunningham. One by one, the Redskins took turns chasing and corralling number 12, who, by the end of the game, had to be searching for some kind of escape route. Through 6 games, Washington's defense had yielded just 7 touchdowns, and every time a big play needed to be made, someone stepped forward. The 4-2 Redskins were on a roll.
After the Denver game, and then especially after the Philly game, we could feel a sense of unity. The guys were having an attitude of winners again, going out and just playing what we call Redskin football.
Redskin football means finding ways to win. In Minnesota, that meant riding the right leg of number 8, Chip Lohmiller.
For the ball game. Snap is good, hold is good, kick is up. There's enough there. It's good. Lohmiller from 49 has tied his own Redskins record with his 5th field goal of the day. Field goal, Washington Redskins.
Lohmiller enjoyed another solid season in 1992 as he led the NFC in scoring and was part of Washington's typically tough and tricky special teams. Each year, the Redskins find new ways to surprise opponents, And in '92, the king of clandestine acts was the team's most versatile player, Brian Mitchell. Mitchell returned kickoffs and punts, led the special teams in tackles, carried the ball out of the backfield, served as a pass catcher, and even played a little quarterback. But his primary duty was returning kicks, and against New York, he scored the Redskins' only touchdown.
Mitchell's going to get a return from the 14 out to the 20, 25, up the middle, 30, breaks it to the 35, back to the 40, he's gone. There he goes to the 35, the 30, the 20, the 10, touchdown, Washington Redskins as he swan dives into the end.
Mitchell's swan dive made a big splash, but the rest of the night for Washington was pretty much a flop. The loss dropped them to 5-3, but they rebounded in Seattle.
Flat, got it complete out there, wide open as Orr at the 20, 15, hey! Touchdown, Washington Redskins, what about it? It's a touchdown!
Terry Orr scored the Redskins' lone touchdown, and Wilbur Marshall made sure no more would be necessary. In a year when inconsistency and uncertainty were cruel companions to the Redskins, Wilbur Marshall and the defense never were paid a visit. Number 58 had his first Pro Bowl season with Washington, registering career bests in tackles and sacks. Fellow linebacker Kurt Cavea, number 54, led the team in tackles and finished only behind Brad Edwards in interceptions. Edwards' 6 picks ranked him among league leaders, but this defense was marked not by great individual achievements, but by a depth rarely seen. 13 different players combined for 40 sacks, and all year Washington had someone new preventing the big play by doing all the little things right. This defense gave up more than 2 touchdowns in just 3 games. And when it was forced to do more than just stop an opponent, it always found a way to find the football. It was the epitome of total team defense. And it was a primary reason the Redskins were able to win at least 10 games for the 4th year in a row. All eyes were on the defending champs who were in desperate need of a win following a pair of road losses at Kansas City and New Orleans.
Back at home, baby. We're back at home. Let's get some respect. Everybody make plays. I'm down 1, baby.
You're tired of losing, then get out and
something about it.
It would be a day of many happy returns in D.C. Jim Lachey and Darrell Green were back in the lineup after lengthy injuries. Is it any coincidence the Redskins surrendered neither a sack nor a touchdown? And speaking of returns, Washington reverted to its winning ways by returning 6 Cardinal turnovers.
Picked it up by Wilbur Marshall, out to the near side, 20, 25, fakes a man to the 30 with a limp leg, gets to the 35, bowls his way forward, breaks a tackle to the 40, stiff arms a guy at the 40, flips it back on the reverse on the Alboyd Mays, far side Cardinal 40. He dodges a man and now fights inside the 35 to the 33. Bravo! Rosenbaugh has the snap, play action fake, rushed up the middle, gets the pass away, picked off of the 47, far side 40, and Edwards to the 30, the 25, cuts to the 20, he's going to the 10, the 5, touchdown, Washington.
Brad Edwards enjoyed the finest game of his career with a forced fumble and 3 interceptions, and the Redskins' offensive line paved the way for a season-high 4 offensive touchdowns.
Hey, you got to be ready here now. Be ready for a quick force and knock his ass out of there. Wear them into the ground today. Wear them into the ground. Got it?
Men like Simmons, Brown, Schlereth, Lachey, Jacoby, Elowinibi, McKenzie, and Warren opened holes for Ernest Biner all year, and against the Cardinals, they opened a path to the end zone. The Hogs also provided perfect pass protection, as the Redskins threw for 3 scores.
From the 13, bootleg around the right side, complete to Sanders' 5-yard line, touchdown, Washington Redskins.
Washington continued its aerial assault in New York the following Sunday by dropping a bomb on the Giants.
Second down and 13, Rippon rolling out to his right, gonna go deep, he's got Monk on the fly at the goal line, caught, touchdown, Washington Redskins, and a beauty.
The Redskins' passing game was back to form, and so was Ernest Biner, who ran for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
There's the snap, hand to Biner, going left, scoots past the man to the 5, goes to the far side, breaks, dives, touchdown.
Washington was now 8-5, heading for a home showdown with Dallas.
Get fired up, Big Charles!
Oh, Big Charles!
Fired up, Big Charles!
Called us the dead skins, man. Got to rise up and show them we're about to turn over in our grave. We ain't dead yet. A couple of nails still to be put in it, and we ain't gonna let it happen.
It was a classic struggle, one that only could be waged between the defending champs and the champs-to-be.
All right, baby, we're in a dogfight. It's gonna be a dogfight.
One team owned a title which the other so desperately sought, and finding the end zone proved to be a most strenuous task. Normal modes of scoring wouldn't suffice in this game, so the Redskins turned this physical war into a strategic battle of the minds. Terry Orr's touchdown helped keep matters close, but Dallas still held a 17-13 lead late in the 4th quarter. What occurred in the final minutes would surprise everyone. Everyone but Charles Mann and Jason Buck.
I was kind of sitting there off to myself daydreaming about this. Jason came up to me and hit me in the shoulder and said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna get a fumble and you run it in for a touchdown." And I looked at him and said, "Man, I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about, you weren't in it, but okay, we'll put you in it."
Once again, the Redskins defense being asked to come up with some kind of a big play. I can't believe they're going to pass the ball.
I can't either.
2nd and 8.
They are.
He's going to pass. He's in the end zone. He gets the ball batted, gets grabbed, sacked there.
Safety.
Grabbed in the end zone. The ball still loose. Grabbed by the defense. What's the call?
Might be a touchdown for the Redskins.
Let's see.
I think it is.
As this is all happening, I can't believe that it's happening. And I'm saying to myself, wow, this is just what we talked about. I believe I just stopped on the play and just like, wow.
The officials are looking under the pile.
And we don't have replay.
Get in the end zone.
He's going back to the end zone, Sam. He hears you. It's a touchdown. I believe it's a touchdown. Let's see. It is. We're waiting. Touchdown. Washington Redskins defense.
We ain't dead yet. We aren't dead yet.
They said the dead skins. I guess we're back. You couldn't have dreamed it up any better than that.
How do they look? Kind of like that scene from Rocky. Remember at the end of the fight, his eyes are all swollen shut, and he's saying, "Cut him, Mick, cut him." That's the way the Redskins are. Battered and bruised, but cut him, Mick, cut him.
They limped into the postseason with a pair of heartbreaking losses. But on this day, Washington would show the Vikings and the rest of the league that they should never count out the Redskins, and that it was going to take a knockout to dethrone this champ.
Keep playing hard, D. Let's get the ball. Turnover time.
Brad Edwards' interception helped set up a go-ahead score in the 2nd quarter.
Here we go. Motion by Middleton. Hand off to Biner. Left side. Fights his way through. Snakes in. Touchdown. Washington Redskins.
After winning the early rounds of this fight with might, the Redskins added to their lead by playing mind games with Minnesota.
Run us up here. We might as well win it.
Come on,
fake one here.
You know, they could give him a direct snap. It looks like he's right behind the center. They did. He's going to run it. I could see it from here. He was lined up right behind the center, 5 yards. It was a shotgun snap.
Holy cow, that was really gambling right there.
Well,
and it worked.
Is there any doubt that they came here to win today? Brian Mitchell is the deep back. He'll get the call, cuts it up through the middle. The 5 fights his way to the goal line. Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
Brian Mitchell, is he something?
Brian Mitchell's touchdown and 209 total yards had Washington on its way to a win. And in the second half, the Redskins made sure that for the second year in a row, they would leave Minnesota with very fond memories.
Touchdown, Big O!
Redskins leading 17-7. Ripping back to pass, lobbing it deep.
Touchdown!
Got Clark wide open in the corner, caught. Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
Got it good, got it good. Here you go.
The 1992 season was one long battle for this team. All year, they battled injuries, they battled inconsistency, and they battled an opponent who each week wanted to walk off the field saying, "We just beat the world champs." But the world champs defended their title with honor. Now, as they change from the hunted back to the hunter, they will have to do it without Joe Gibbs. Change occurs pretty regularly in Washington, but for 12 years, fans have been able to count on the winning consistency of Joe Gibbs. He leaves football with 140 victories, a winning percentage of nearly 700, and 3 Super Bowl championships.
And I want you to know that each one of you has a small piece of this trophy today.
He poured his heart into the Redskins and from the very beginning knew it was his responsibility to make them winners.
I think at the end of the season, it'll be the time that we judge, you know, how well we've done this year and what kind of coaching job we did. But I've got everything I think it takes. You know, if I screw this up, it's going to be me doing it.
Gibbs couldn't have failed. He worked too hard in preparing his teams and was one of those rare coaches who could teach and motivate at the highest level.
With teams, let's hit it rolling now. Let's earn this thing today. Nothing gets away from us. Let's earn it today, okay? Hey, we ain't made a play yet. We're going to start making them in a minute now. We'll start making them. Everybody keep your head up. Stand.
Play action fake. Williams going up top. Got Sanders on the fly at midfield. He's gone. Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
Joe Gibbs plans to spend more time with his family now, but he'll never forget the family he has with the Washington Redskins.
Congratulations, Mr. Coach. Congratulations. Great job. Thanks for letting me do this. Oh, no. Yes, sir. All right, way to go, man. Hey, let's win. Hey, let's win with style, man. Win with style. Great job. Hey, proud of all of you. Proud of all of you, man.
There's some great memories in there about a lot of the players I coached, a lot of fun guys. I'll probably enjoy them more the older I get. I've often joked, you know, I'll be sitting on some corner with some guy and say, hey, you know, I coached the Washington Redskins. Look over and go, hey, this guy's nuts. I am thrilled that I get to, and one of the few guys that was in a classy organization that gets to have all of the coaches continue doing what they're doing. I can step aside and turn it over to Richie. I am thrilled at that. I think the Redskins are in great hands.
We now look to the strength and something that I'm terribly proud of, the depth of intelligence and sturdiness of the Redskins organization. I've decided Richie Pettibone will be the new head coach of the Redskins.
As a fiery defensive back from 1959 through 1972, Richie Pettibone had 48 career interceptions. Since 1978, he has been designing Washington's defense. He will prove to be a worthy successor to one of the most successful coaches in football history, and no doubt will maintain the Redskins' winning tradition.
This time, I'd just like to thank everybody for giving me this opportunity, and you know, as I promised Mr. Cook yesterday, I won't let him down. Believe me, we will continue.
Hi, I'm Steve Sable. As we've just seen, the 1992 season marked the end of a glorious era in Washington. Joe Gibbs decided to step down as head coach, and it must have been a difficult decision for him. But the decision owner Jack Kent Cooke had to make concerning Washington's new head coach, well, that was an easy one. Longtime defensive coach Richie Pettibone will lead the Redskins into a new era. And the offseason has been busy, and the Redskins have made some significant additions to their already strong squad. Let's take a look now at what we can expect from Richie Pettibone's 1993 Washington Redskins.
When the Redskins take the field this season, they won't see the familiar face of Joe Gibbs. But it hasn't taken their new leader long to sound like a head coach.
I think we can improve ourselves in any area that you could pick out. I mean, we need a cornerback, we need a running back, we need a wide receiver. You can make a case for a pass rusher, a linebacker.
Things may not be as desperate in Washington as Richie Pettibone makes them out to be. But if the Redskins are to improve, they must receive better play from their quarterback. Mark Rypien looked dazed and confused at times in '92. Coming off his remarkable '91 season, some sort of letdown had to be expected. But to go from Super Bowl most valuable player to the lowest rated passer in the NFC was quite a drop.
Mark has received a lot of criticism, over the year he had, and Mark knows as well as anybody that he didn't have a great year. I've always felt that quarterbacks are blamed too much when you lose. I think they get too much credit when you win. We had offensive line problems, we had receiver problems, a lot of things that, quarterback really can't control. So if we can stay healthy up front and everything else falls in place, I'll look for Mark to come back and have a good year.
A plethora of injuries made '92 a tough year for the Hogs, but they still yielded the second fewest sacks in the league. If they can give Rypien time to throw, Washington's passing attack might return to its championship form of 2 years ago. Second-year man Desmond Howard and former Bengal Tim McGee will help fill the void left by Gary Clark, and Ricky Sanders and Art Monk should remain reliable targets.
Gotta get that ball back. We need one more score.
Rypien looks left, checks off, looks right, going deep, got Sanders wide open, caught at the 25, 20, 10, 5, far side, touchdown, Washington Redskins. Play action fake by Rypien, last play of the quarter, throws it up near side for Monk, grabs it at the 20, bobbles it, pulls it in at the 10, touchdown, Washington Redskins.
While the game's all-time reception king continues to provide leadership to Washington's air assault, Ernest Biner does the same for the ground game. In just 4 years, he has already moved into third place on the team's all-time rushing list.
Let's move the chain!
Only a back injury in the final game of the regular season prevented Biner from rushing for 1,000 yards for the third consecutive year. He finished with 998 yards and scored a team-high 7 touchdowns.
Here's the snap, here's the handoff. Up the middle, Biner, untouched, walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
With Richie Pettibone planning to use more two-back formations, number 32 Ricky Urbans and return specialist Brian Mitchell, who showcased his many talents in last season's playoffs, should see more playing time alongside Biner.
Brian Mitchell, probably one of the most versatile, best athletes we have on our team. Definitely has running ability, and he can do just about anything, and his role is definitely going to be expanded.
While Mitchell may be the team's most improved player on offense, that distinction on defense could belong to linebacker Kurt Gavea.
He's a football player that makes plays. He might not be the biggest or the fastest. He may be the smartest, and he certainly has what we like to call great instincts. He has a nose for the ball. A lot of guys, they just can't make plays. They're afraid to make plays. This guy's he's a playmaker, and he's one of our best players.
As is Wilbur Marshall, the Redskins' lone Pro Bowler in '92. Marshall and Gavea provide a solid base at linebacker, and Darrell Green, who missed 8 games last year with a broken arm, and Brad Edwards should do the same in the secondary. Up front, Charles Mann will lead a veteran group that will be bolstered by the addition of former Viking Al Noga. Noga spent 5 seasons in Minnesota. He's a proven player who should be able to make contributions immediately. The kind of pickup Washington seems to make each offseason. The kind that still had the experts expecting big things from the Redskins.
I think this is a team growing old, but a team that year after year finds ways to plug gaps and to get players who are good enough to fit into their scheme and win.
It could be a funny year in Washington with a new man in charge. But Richie Pettibone and his staff won't leave anything to chance. They'll no doubt carry on the winning ways of the Redskins and settle for nothing less than another Super Bowl title.
When I say the name Vince Lombardi, your immediate thoughts are probably the Green Bay Packers, and with good reason. Lombardi's exploits in Green Bay are well known, even by the most casual of football fans. But what most people don't know about this legend is that he finished his coaching career in Washington. Prior to Lombardi, the Redskins, they weren't any very impressive bunch. In fact, if you check the record books before the start of the 1969 campaign, you would have had to go back 14 years to find a winning season in Washington. But all of that changed when Lombardi arrived. In the same year that man walked on the moon, the Redskins took some giant leaps of their own. Lombardi's strict discipline and unyielding desire to get the maximum effort from his players turned a team of perennial losers into winners for a season and for life.
By the late 60s, the Green Bay Packers of Vince Lombardi had won 5 world championships in 7 years. With seemingly few worlds left to conquer, Green Bay's inspirational leader left his head coaching position to become the team's general manager. But after just 1 season away from the playing field, a restless and bored Lombardi returned to the coaching ranks with a new team in a new town.
I have no preconceived notions about any personnel on the Washington Redskins, none whatsoever. And that's the way I'm going to approach this. Everybody starts off fresh. Everybody starts off with a new face.
When do you expect to have a winner? The first year, the second?
I'd like to have a winner the first year, if possible.
I think he needed that challenge. He thought, hey, I've done it all. I've won 3 world championships in a row. You know, I've brought this team to prominence. Now it's time to turn it over to somebody else. And I think he thought it was time to give it up, but it really wasn't. You're doing something that you enjoy doing more than anything else in the world. So why not do it as long as you can possibly do it? I knew him from the New York days, and I knew him from competing against him that there was no finer coach in football than Lombardi. I didn't play in 1968, but when he came out of retirement in 1969, I wanted to come back with Lombardi and be a player coach. I knew the team would come together, and I knew that what he could do was change the mental attitude of a football team. He did it when he went to Green Bay. I knew he'd do it in Washington, and I wanted to be a part of it.
To succeed, Lombardi would also have to win over the Redskins' best player, the talented but mischievous Sonny Jurgensen.
I didn't break curfew with him because he was the only coach that I ever played for that never mentioned my weight. And from the first meeting, he never said, "What do you weigh?" And it was very understandable because the first practice we ever had, he almost killed me with exercises. He knew I would be in shape. He didn't have to mention my weight or anything. He knew that he was going to condition me.
He pressured us so much in practice. Playing in a game on Sunday was just a mere piece of cake. Vince scolded me in front of the team about fumbling in practice, and he made me carry football around with me for an entire week. It was the most embarrassing experience during the training camp. Walking into a grocery store with a football, and people are looking at you in a strange manner. Going to church with a football in your hand. If you wanted Vince Lombardi off your back, you learned to do things as he wanted them done.
The coach's stern lessons took hold as Brown rushed for the most yards by a Redskin in nearly 2 decades. But equally important was Lombardi's solution to Brown's hearing disabilities, a step that helped Larry to become NFL Rookie of the Year.
Vince Lombardi had already concluded that I had some sort of hearing impairment, and the day that hearing aid was installed in my helmet, he went to one side of the room asked me to put the helmet on and go to the other side of the room, and he said, "Larry, can you hear me?" And I said, "Coach, I've never had any problems hearing you."
Lombardi's booming messages were especially audible to quarterback Sonny Jurgensen. Lombardi's offensive scheme made Sonny the NFL's leading passer. But the Redskins quarterback also learned that his coach did not always measure success in traditional ways.
If I threw a ball on 1st and goal for a touchdown, he would get mad. He would get mad. If I'm on a 3-yard line and throw a touchdown pass, he would chew me out. And the reason being, he said, "I know you can throw touchdown passes." He said, "But why don't you let the rest of the team participate in the score by running the ball in? That lifts everybody up." He said, "You've just enjoyed yourself out there throwing a touchdown. Don't do that anymore."
In a decade of coaching, Lombardi had fielded only winning teams. But the '69 Redskins were simply not talented enough to beat the NFL's best. And by late season, hopes for a winner in Washington were flickering. On a chilly December day in Philadelphia, the Redskins were trailing the lowly Eagles. And an angry Vince Lombardi had seen enough.
He was obviously unhappy with our performance in the first half, and he stared at us and then he said, "If someone was running down the street with everything you owned on his back, you better stop him." And I think that message hit us extremely well because we came out on the field and we were more aggressive, and we were very fortunate to go on and win the game.
With a 34-29 victory in hand, Washington needed only to beat the New Orleans Saints in the final home game of the season to clinch the Redskins' first winning record since 1955.
We were playing at home, and we were playing the Saints, and it was on the line to have a winning season. And we knew how bad he wanted to do that. He never had a losing season. We wanted it for Lombardi, more so than we wanted it for ourselves.
Washington struggled, but still managed to beat the Saints. Lombardi's Redskins ended the year with 7 wins, 5 losses, and 2 ties. But sadly, the coach would not get the opportunity to improve on his team's record.
I remember him calling upon our trainer many, many times in 1969 because he was having pain and stomach discomfort. And he would call Joe Cuso, who was our trainer with the Redskins, and say, "Joe, get me some of that Digel, get something for my stomach." But I firmly believe that he had possibly the beginning of that cancer in 1969. But Coach Lombardi, as most of us remember, had this thing about pain. In fact, he used to talk to his players. Pain was always in your mind, and he wanted you to play with injuries. And I think part of that philosophy, he believed in it himself. So as a result, he did not have himself checked for this discomfort in 1969. I believe the cancer was growing, and when they opened him up in 1970 in June, it was too late.
The next time I saw him, we played a preseason game in Baltimore, and he was history. I mean, he couldn't talk, he could only whisper, and he called the football team together. And I'll never forget what he said. He almost whispered it. He said, "I just want you guys to know that you're my team. I selected you to play for the Redskins. You're going to be great." That's all he said.
Vince Lombardi coached the Washington Redskins for only a season, but his influence still endures. In 1 year, he revitalized a team, altered careers, and sustained memories that will last a lifetime.
The whole time he was in Washington that year, I worked harder. I had more fun. I was in better condition, enjoyed football more than any time in the 18 years. And if I had to pick a highlight out of 18 years of Sonny Jurgensen's career, it would be 1969 under Vince Lombardi.